On March 16, 1957, at 8 a.m., a 300-foot spacecraft landed in a field in Alexandria, Virginia. Two local police officers arrived to investigate. As the door of the craft opened slowly, the officers drew their guns, unsure of what to expect. To their surprise, a seemingly ordinary man stepped out, smiled, and waved hello. Before the officers could utter a word, he calmly stated, "I need to see the president." 9 months later, NASA was established. This is the story of what transpired in between, the story of Valiant Thor. If you're not familiar with it, buckle up for an incredible ride. In the fall of 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1 and 2, the first artificial satellites to orbit the Earth. This took the United States by surprise and instilled fear in the American public, worried that the Soviets could launch an attack from space. The U.S. military felt embarrassed by their technological lag. In response, President Eisenhower demanded action. On January 31, 1958, the United States attempted to launch the Vanguard satellite, but it exploded shortly after takeoff. The space race was not going well for the Americans. Eisenhower urged Congress to create an agency to manage U.S. space efforts, leading to the formation of NASA in July 1958. While the Soviets initially dominated the space race, the U.S. quickly caught up and eventually surpassed them, thanks in part to NASA's innovations. NASA has been responsible for advancements like Velcro, freeze-drying, foam mattresses, solar cells, smartphone cameras, and even the Bowflex. With over 2,600 patents and credit for more than 2,000 commercial products, NASA's rapid technological growth raises eyebrows. A more skeptical observer might wonder if these advancements came too quickly. The story of Valiant Thor might shed some light on this mystery. This man from another world was willing to share his people's technology with the United States, but he wanted something in return. On the morning of March 16, 1957, Harley Andrew Byrd, the nephew of the famous Admiral Richard Byrd, was in his Pentagon office. Byrd held a high-ranking position in Project Blue Book, the secret military program investigating UFOs from 1952 to 1969. At around 8:30 a.m., he received a frantic call from the Alexandria Police Department. Officers were en route to the Pentagon with a very unusual visitor. Minutes later, a police car pulled up to the building, where Secretary of Defense Charles Wilson and 6 of his staff were waiting to greet the stranger. A tall man with brown hair and a relaxed demeanor stepped out of the car, looking completely ordinary except for his silver and gold jumpsuit. The group led him into an elevator that descended to the Pentagon's basement. From there, they took an underground train directly to the White House, arriving at the Oval Office, where President Eisenhower awaited. "What's your name?" the president asked. "Valiant," he replied, or simply, Val. "Where do you come from?" Eisenhower inquired. "I come from the planet your Bible calls the morning and evening star Venus," Val stated. Eisenhower requested proof, but Val suggested they talk first. He explained that Earth had been quietly monitored for thousands of years, but after the invention of the atomic bomb, his people felt it necessary to intervene. Val was sent by the High Council, which represents a coalition of intelligent species across multiple planets, similar to the Federation in Star Trek. He offered assistance to solve many of Earth's pressing issues. The president invited Val to stay at the Pentagon as his guest, and Val agreed. Eisenhower also asked Val to join a gathering at Howard Menger's house in High Bridge, New Jersey, where researchers and scientists discussed UFOs. Val consented and requested to bring his crew along. During this meeting, something unexpected occurred, documented by a young Air Force photographer named August Roberts, who captured images of Val and his crew. Val and his companions, Don, Jill, and Tanya, wore regular human clothes, while the military took a keen interest in Val's spacesuit, dubbed the Miracle Garment. Despite its size, it weighed only 6 ounces, including a pair of boots, and proved indestructible. Military personnel shot it, poured acid on it, and even attempted to drill through it with a diamond tip, but they couldn't leave a mark. At Howard Menger's house, Val presented ideas on how to end world hunger, cure diseases, and eliminate war. But he emphasized the need for all nuclear nations to disarm. Eisenhower, however, felt mankind wasn't ready for such radical changes. It was then that Val realized he couldn't accomplish his mission alone. He needed an ally on Earth who was open-minded enough to help sway world leaders. This person would work closely with Valiant Thor over the next 3 years, and his name was Dr. Frank Stranges. Dr. Frank Stranges was a prominent UFO researcher, author, and theologian, recognized for his academic achievements. He held PhDs in psychology, philosophy, and criminology, making him a respected figure in both scientific and spiritual circles. One day, he received an enthusiastic call from August Roberts, the photographer from the High Bridge gathering. August had taken intriguing photos of aliens and was uncertain about what to do with them. Intrigued by the potential implications, Frank was eager to see the images. After examining them, he began incorporating the photos into his lectures, captivating audiences with their extraordinary content. Following a talk in Washington, D.C., Frank spent time signing copies of his books and engaging with attendees. During this event, a woman named Nancy Warren approached him, holding up her Pentagon ID card. She quietly offered him an extraordinary opportunity, a chance to meet the man in the photos. Frank, filled with excitement, eagerly accepted. The next morning, Frank arrived at the Pentagon and was escorted to Val's quarters. As the door opened, Val greeted him with a warm smile and extended his hand, saying, "Hello, Frank." It quickly became clear that Val was well informed about Frank's life and work. They engaged in a conversation, and Val expressed his need for Frank's help. When Frank questioned why he had been chosen for such an important task, Val explained that Frank possessed an open mind, communicated with many people, and was a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. This revelation led to a deeper discussion about Frank's beliefs. He had long held the view that Jesus and angels might actually be extraterrestrials, and that the Bible contained references to UFOs. Val's mission aligned with these ideas, to save mankind and help humanity return to God. Val asked Frank to assist in spreading this message. In return, he promised to share the wonders of the universe with humanity. Although their meeting was brief, Val shared a wealth of information. He confirmed the existence of intelligent life on many planets and stated that the universe held more solar systems than humans could comprehend. With this knowledge, Val's mission officially commenced. As the years progressed, Val confided in Frank about various extraterrestrial activities occurring on Earth. One startling revelation was about communication devices hidden in homes worldwide, including locations like Reno, San Diego, Los Angeles, and Geneva. These devices were holographic communicators, allowing users to interact with others as if they were in the same physical space. Frank witnessed one of these devices in action and was astonished by its capabilities, which facilitated communication between Earth bases, ships, and Val's home-based ship orbiting the planet. Despite the promise of collaboration, Val's efforts with President Eisenhower faced significant challenges. Although Val managed to persuade the president to consider a United Nations meeting to facilitate Earth's entry into the intergalactic community, these initiatives were consistently thwarted. Each time progress was made, the CIA or Department of Defense intervened, fearing that widespread acceptance of Val's message would undermine America's military dominance. Their influence repeatedly shut down Eisenhower's attempts. In his farewell address in 1961, a year after Val's mission concluded, Eisenhower alluded to these tensions. He warned against the establishment of a military-industrial complex, cautioning that the creation of a weapons industry could lead to dangerous consequences, including the accumulation of wealth and power that could threaten democracy. Eisenhower, a war hero and former Supreme Commander of Allied forces in World War II, recognized the perils of allowing war and weapons to become a profitable enterprise. His colleagues, including General MacArthur, dismissed these concerns as unfounded, especially with the Soviet Union's rising power. However, Eisenhower remained steadfast in his belief that military interests should not dominate national policy. Val's 3-year mission came to a close in 1960, and while it didn't achieve the intended success, it was not the last time humanity would hear from Valiant Thor. Even though his relationship with Val brought positive changes to Frank Strange's life, it was not without danger. After delivering a lecture in Germany, Frank experienced a near-fatal incident when his food was poisoned. Just when he thought he wouldn't survive, Val appeared with the antidote and delivered a chilling warning. Watch your back. This was a stark reminder of the risks that accompanied his knowledge of extraterrestrial matters. A few years later, while on his way to meet Val, Frank was violently ambushed. He was forcibly shoved into the back of a car and taken out to the desert, where he was nearly beaten to death. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, Val and Dawn arrived, saving him from certain doom. On his honeymoon, Frank faced another harrowing situation. A mysterious black car aggressively ran him and his wife off the road, resulting in serious injuries that broke his neck and hips. He was hospitalized, teetering on the brink of death, when Val appeared once again. With a simple gesture, Val healed him instantly, allowing Frank to walk out of the hospital that very day, fully restored. The most significant event in Frank's life occurred in June 1968, when Val summoned him to San Diego for something special. Upon arriving, Val picked Frank up at the airport, and they drove southward into Mexico. They finally stopped in a small town called San Felipe. After parking behind a restaurant, they walked along a rocky path leading to the beach. It was then that Frank's eyes widened in awe. Hovering just above the water was a massive 300-foot-long, 21-foot-tall silver saucer. Val pointed at the spacecraft and asked, "Want to see?" The interior of the spaceship was astonishing. Rather than a cold, scientific environment, it resembled a luxurious resort. It featured a library, gym, dining hall, and media rooms. After receiving a comprehensive tour, Frank was shown to his room. He described the floor as feeling like a thick cloud, molding to the shape of his foot with each step. There were no corners or right angles. The design felt organic and harmonious. That night, Frank experienced some of the most restful sleep he had ever known. The next morning, Val took Frank back to the San Diego airport, but the experience left a lasting impression on him. As the years rolled on, Frank began to incorporate these extraordinary experiences into his lectures, fervently attempting to share Val's message with the world. In 1967, he published Stranger at the Pentagon, a book detailing his time with Val. This work included numerous photographs of Val, flying saucers, and a plethora of strange phenomena. Frank broke down the advanced technology he had encountered, discussing types of propulsion, anti-gravity systems, and more. He even included a diagram of the spaceship itself. Although Frank Strange's passed away a few years ago, the legacy of his experiences continues. Valiant Thor remains active, with his ship, Victor 1, reportedly parked and cloaked on the shores of Lake Mead, east of Las Vegas. Several thousand people are aware of Val and Victor 1, including about 2,000 government employees. A few scientists have even been on board, and the book ends with a message from Val. In short, he says we should be kind to one another, be open-minded, and spend more time in the service of others. Treat people as you'd like to be treated. Val is describing the Golden Rule. It's nice to know the Golden Rule applies no matter what planet you're on. So if you're watching this and have access to one of those communication devices, do us a favor and let Val know. We need him more than ever. Valiant Thor has emerged as one of the most requested topics on this channel, and the reasons are clear. His story is packed with intriguing characters, intense action, and an uplifting message. However, there's a significant complication. The narrative's credibility is often questioned. So, is this skepticism warranted? To explore this, let's delve into some key figures in the Valiant Thor saga, starting with Harley Andrew Byrd. Harley claims to be the nephew of the famed Admiral Richard Byrd and asserts he worked for Project Blue Book at the Pentagon. While the Admiral did indeed have 4 nephews, none were named Harley Andrew. This discrepancy raises questions about the reliability of the genealogy. Is it possible that the records are inaccurate? While that seems unlikely, it can't be entirely dismissed. If Harley truly held a position at the Pentagon in 1957, it implies he had top-secret clearance as a teenager, which adds another layer of intrigue to his story. Next, we consider Laura Eisenhower, the great-granddaughter of President Dwight D. Eisenhower. She claims to have been recruited for a mission to Mars in 2006 and asserts that UFO disclosure is imminent, insisting that Valiant Thor is a genuine figure. Assessing her credibility largely depends on individual beliefs. Laura's background is impressive yet unconventional. She identifies as an intuitive astrologist, global alchemist, cosmic mythologist, guardian of the organic ascension timeline, and opener of natural stargates. That's quite a resume. If her assertions about impending danger hold any truth, advocates of her perspective argue that we might need all the cosmic warriors we can get. Now, let's delve into Dr. Frank Strange's, the primary source of the Valiant Thor narrative. The core of the Valiant Thor story is found in Strange's 1967 book, Stranger at the Pentagon. Interestingly, Val's arrival is said to have occurred a decade earlier. During those intervening years, Frank published multiple other works on UFOs and produced documentaries. Yet there is no mention of Valiant Thor until 1967. Some might suggest that Frank was simply biding his time to share this particular story. But this leads us to scrutinize the credibility of the messenger. Strange's claim to hold 3 PhDs from 2 institutions. However, one of those colleges is non-existent, and the other does not offer any PhD programs. He also stated he was the deputy director of the California State Marshal Association, a position that appears not to have existed either. These inconsistencies prompt skepticism regarding his credentials. Additionally, the narrative in Stranger at the Pentagon closely mirrors the plot of the classic sci-fi film The Day the Earth Stood Still, which also involves an alien visitor promoting peace and warning against the dangers of nuclear weapons. In Frank's retelling, however, he emphasizes a strong religious angle, infusing the story with themes of divine will and the power of Christ. Given that he was a preacher and Christian evangelist, this blending of extraterrestrial and spiritual themes aligns with his background. His goal may have been to engage non-believers with a familiar concept, the notion of aliens, ultimately drawing them toward Christianity. The idea that extraterrestrials can enhance any story resonates with some audiences. When it comes to the photographs of alleged aliens that accompany Frank's narrative, their authenticity remains uncertain. These images could depict an alien delegation advising the President of the United States, or might simply show people at a casual backyard gathering. To date, no one has come forward to identify anyone in the photos, leaving their provenance in limbo. Thus, while they cannot be definitively debunked, they also lack solid verification. The entire story of Valiant Thor is certainly outlandish, yet it's worth noting that Frank Strange's maintained consistency in his accounts throughout the 40 years he spent lecturing on the subject. Following his passing, numerous individuals have surfaced claiming connections to Valiant Thor, or even asserting that they are him. In fact, Val has even acquired an author page on Amazon, furthering the mythology by publishing his own books. This persistent interest in the Valiant Thor story, along with its mix of credible, questionable, and outright fantastical elements, keeps the narrative alive. Valiant Thor's story resonates with many people because it combines elements of science fiction and the possibility of life beyond Earth. The idea that an extraterrestrial being could engage with high-level officials and share advanced technology sparks curiosity and wonder. It encourages us to ponder our existence and the vastness of the universe, raising the question of whether we are truly alone. At its core, Val's journey is not just about advanced technology, but also about a message of morality and responsibility. He emphasizes kindness and service, values that feel particularly relevant today. In a world often marked by division and conflict, these principles can serve as a guiding light. Val's insights challenge us to look past our differences and work toward a common good, reminding us of the potential for humanity to unite for something greater than ourselves. The skepticism surrounding Val's story is understandable, yet it reflects a broader cultural fascination with UFOs and the possibility of extraterrestrial life. For centuries, humans have shared tales of encounters with beings from other worlds, whether in ancient texts or modern media. This ongoing interest highlights our deep-seated desire to explore the unknown and seek connections beyond our planet. Films, books, and documentaries continue to ignite our imagination, leading many to consider the idea that we are not alone. Frank Strange's account fits into a larger genre of UFO literature, where numerous authors have claimed encounters with extraterrestrial beings, often sharing messages advocating for peace and cooperation among humans. This theme resonates deeply in today's world, which faces significant challenges, including conflict, poverty, and environmental issues. The narrative surrounding Valiant Thor serves as a reflection of our collective hopes and fears for a better future. The community of UFO enthusiasts and researchers is diverse, with individuals sharing experiences and insights in a quest to understand these phenomena. Some advocate for an open-minded approach, while others emphasize the need for skepticism and critical thinking. This ongoing dialogue is vital in advancing our understanding of potential extraterrestrial interactions and what they might mean for humanity. So thanks for watching this video and subscribe for more content.